For the past several weeks, you've seen me sanding floors, painting panels, and installing a set of 1988 kitchen cabinets I picked up secondhand on Marketplace. The kitchen is slowly taking shape, but right now I'm in a little pause while I wait for the countertops to be delivered and for the last appliances to arrive. So I thought we would use this quiet moment for something different. Today I'm sitting down in my favorite corner of the garden with you to answer some of your questions. They've been coming in over the past weeks, and this is the actual Q&A and my very first here on the channel. I don't know where the questions will take us, but I'm looking forward to finding out. So the questions. Where are you originally from? Well, I'm from Denmark. Born and raised in a suburb just outside of Copenhagen. It's called Glostrup. When I was 21, I moved into Copenhagen itself, and I ended up living there for most of my adult life until I moved out here to the countryside a few years ago. So really, I've always been a city person, but at some point, the countryside started calling, and here we are. Am I single? Yes. I'm 45 years old and I have no kids and no intention of ever having kids. So what's the meaning behind my mustache tattoo? Well, the mustache tattoo is really just fun. There's no deeper meaning behind it. I have 3 tattoos in total, and honestly, I always forget I ever have the mustache tattoo because I can't see it myself. Every time someone points it out, I'm like, oh, right, that. It's a little reminder not to take myself too seriously. When will you do an updated house tour? I get this question quite often. And the truth is, I've been saving a lot of interior projects for autumn and winter, so once I get those done, I'll definitely do an updated tour. I want the house to feel a little more complete before I show you around again, so you can get the whole picture instead of just bits and pieces. Are you naturally gifted at figuring things out, or have you trained in restoration? I'm completely self-taught. Well, I've never studied carpentry or restoration or anything like that. My approach is very Pippi Longstocking. You know, I've never tried it before, so I think I can do it. I just give it a go. Of course, that means there are mistakes, challenges, and plenty of do-overs. But if I don't try, I don't learn. And to be honest, I usually enjoy the process even when it's frustrating. Plus, it keeps the budget low, which is a big part of this renovation. This little gate to the back has been bugging me for a while. So I'm gonna take a little break from the kitchen this morning, fix that. Should be an easy task. Okay, maybe it's not that easy. Do you intend to write another book? Well, writing my first book was one of my biggest goals when I started blogging back in 2010. It was such a milestone for me. Right now, I don't have plans to write another, but I'm not saying never. If I did, I think it might be something that reflects what I'm doing here on YouTube. Maybe a mix of reflections, how-to guides, DIY projects, design ideas, that kind of thing. Well, we'll see. It's not high on the list right now, but the thought is there. Why did you choose this house, since it looks very different from your last one? I would have loved another old farmhouse, but honestly the ones I found were way out of my budget, and most of them needed massive repairs, like a new roof or sewer. This house wasn't exactly what I pictured when I started looking, but I fell in love with the location, the lake, the space, the potential, and once I started to imagine what it could be, it just made sense. And then, do you think you'll move again? Yes. This was never meant to be my forever home. I love renovating, and my 10-year plan right now is to do at least 2 more houses like this before I settle down in what I hope will be my forever place. Hopefully in France or Italy. I've always dreamed of retiring early, living simple in a small farmhouse where I can walk down to the town square, have lunch, drink wine, and just be part of the local rhythm of life. Well, that's the dream, at least. How easy is it to get out of your comfort zone? I actually really like routine. So stepping out of my comfort zone isn't always easy, but life has pushed me into challenges many times. And every time I've just learned something. This renovation has definitely pushed me, and even though it's uncomfortable at times, that's where I grow the most. And then what gets you excited about life? Well, for me, it's health. Staying healthy gives me the energy to do everything else I love. Renovating, gardening, walking with Elvar, even just enjoying quiet morning coffees. If I have my health, I can do it all. And since I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2020, it's even more important now than before. There's certainly ways where, or days where my blood sugar is all over the place, making me not very excited about life, but somehow I always power through. How do you stay motivated, especially on rainy days? I try not to think of motivation as something big and dramatic. It's about small steps. Even if I don't feel like tackling a huge project, I can at least do little small things. And often once I start, the energy comes. Oh, coffee also helps. And Elva, he always gets me outside, rain or shine, which helps more than I realize. What matters most to you? Well, simplicity. Creating a life that feels like mine. Health, peace, and the freedom to spend my time on what matters, not just on what's expected, I guess. What inspires you? Nature inspires me every single day. The lake, the garden, and just changing lights. Danish and mid-centuries design inspires me too, and honestly the conversations we have here on YouTube, seeing your comments, your ideas, that pushes me forward as well. What's the biggest lessons you've learned in this renovation? I think it's pretty easy. Well, that I start too many projects at once. I get too excited about beginning something new, but finishing is harder. So I'm working on teaching myself to finish one thing before starting the next. So once the kitchen is done, I'll turn back to the projects I started earlier, like the workshop and painting the rest of the wood outside. How do I unwind after a long day of DIY? Well, usually something really simple. Cooking a meal, listening to music, or just curling up on the couch with Elva. Sometimes it's just stepping outside in dusk and listening to the quietness. Well, that's quite enough. Any regrets so far? Well, yes. The weed blanket I put under the mulch around the greenhouse. At first I thought it was smart, but it just makes weeding harder now. Definitely a lesson learned. Do I watch other YouTubers? Yes. I love watching other channels. Some of my favorites right now are Rewilding Jude, Storage from the Casina, and Roaming with Rosie, The Perennial Garden, and Marcus Storm. They all inspire me in different ways, and some just make me laugh, which is also just as important. Is YouTube your full-time job? I wish. I wish it was, but not yet. And actually, more than half the people who watch my videos aren't subscribers. So if you're one of them, please do subscribe. It helps. It really helps. For now, I also run a small interior business. In recent years, I've worked on a lot of hotel apartments in Copenhagen, which has been great. But YouTube is what I love to do full time. This one, many of you asked, do you get lonely living alone? Not really. I'm pretty extroverted in some ways, but I recharge by being on my own. I love my friends and family, but after being social, I need time alone. Of course, there are moments where I wish I had an extra set of hands to help with heavy lifting or tricky projects, but that's the compromise of living alone, I guess. Okay, enough about me. Because to be honest, most of you are probably here for something else. Yes, I'm talking about Elvar. I got so many questions about him. I think it's safe to say, well, he's the star of the channel. He's very cute, well, most of the time, so I don't blame you. Let's give the people what they want. Here's the Q&A Elvar edition. Elvar, come here. Come. Yeah, det var good. Did you choose Elvar's breed or was it unintentional? I had a few breeds in mind. I wanted a mid-sized dog, not too small, not too big. Although I've always admired Great Danes, but they're far too big for me. When I met Elvar, there were a few pups in the litter left, but he was the one I connected with right away. And even though it's been a lot of hard work, I couldn't imagine life without him. What does Elvar eat? He's been on essential food from the very beginning, and that's what he still eats. I even use it for training or scatter it in the grass so he can sniff it out. He also loves veggies, berries, cucumbers, and even beans. Basically everything I give him, he eats with enthusiasm. Would he be getting any siblings? Not here. This house is too small. But if I move to a bigger place someday, I'll definitely consider it. Would you ever give away Elvar if life changed? No, I don't see any situations where I would give him up. He's family. How many dogs have I owned before? Well, Elvar is actually my very first owned dog. I've lived with dogs before through partners, but he's the first one I've raised myself. What's his best trick? Well, we got many of the basics down, like sit and down, heel, stay. Right now we're working on rolling over, coming into the middle position between my legs and actually returning the ball instead of keeping it. He's stubborn, but he's learning. See, he came back. So that was my very first Q&A here on the channel. I hope you found something interesting or maybe learned a little more about me, this house, and of course, Elvar. Well, thank you for sending in your questions, thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of this journey.